Okay.
Hey everybody, welcome to a new episode of Hallmark Heartbeats, a podcast all about Hallmark movies. I am your host, Camille, and I want to welcome, or should I say Mabuhay?
Oh,
To Viv, Leacock, and Natasha Burnett. You guys might know them as the Canfields. I love them, guys. It's awesome, and I'm so excited to see you. And the reason why I started with Mabuhay is your wife is Filipino,
yeah,
and I'm
that's why
Filipino too.
I know. That's why I knew what you were saying.
Oh my gosh! Do you know what region in the Philippines your wife is from? Your family's from?
She's from Pangasinan. Does that sound familiar?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, I was born in the Philippines, and I lived there till I was 7, which was in 91, and then my family moved here to the United States, and I haven't really been back since like 2005. When has your family been there to the Philippines, or just?
No, we haven't gone with the kids yet, but yeah, I haven't been there yet. we're waiting. We're gonna go. I guess as soon as we can. That's the next plan.
Yeah, with COVID and stuff, it's going to be complicated.
Exactly.
My grandma is currently living in the Philippines by herself, and we just found out she got COVID too, and so we're all like worried about her here and stuff.
We're praying for your grandma, but I guarantee you, I know your grandmother's tough, so I know she'll be like,
oh yeah,
COVID.
Pinoys are very tough.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, Natasha.
Oh, it's okay. I'm just listening to this.
Oh, she's used to it. She's around the family all the time. She's used to it.
Oh, really? Have you tried any Filipino foods, Natasha? Do you like any?
I haven't tried any. Have I?
No, you couldn't have the lumpia.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, you have to try. You have to try some.
I know. She's got it. She'll tell you.
Adobo is a famous favorite. My favorite is sinigang though, not adobo. I don't like adobo much.
You don't like adobo?
No, I like sinigang.
Yeah,
the soupy kind of dishes with the fish and shrimps and pork.
Actually,
adobo.
probably could have that. Yeah. We'll get it. She's very particular in terms of
dietary.
Yeah. She got stuff that affects her, so there's a lot that she can't have. So there's a lot of stuff that I couldn't give her. I was like, you can't have any of this.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I was telling one of my friends, I was like, I know exactly how I'm going to greet them. I'm going to say Mabuhay. They're like, why are you going to say Mabuhay? Like, because his wife is Filipino. He should know this.
I'm basically Filipino too.
And actually, I have to say, I was 100% wrong, because I've been saying that Amanda is the first Asian character in
When Calls
the Heart, when in actuality it's your children who are Filipino.
Yeah, there we go. They didn't even know that they were doing that.
Hey, let me take that banner. That's me who's
technically that's very true. My kids being half Filipino,
Absolutely.
they were there first.
Yeah. How was it working with your kids? When you got the script for Joseph and Minnie, first of all, I'm not gonna sugarcoat things. I don't sugarcoat things. You guys are literally like the first Black family, Black people in Hope Valley. Took 8 seasons, took 8 years. Let's be honest here. It took 8 years for that to happen. How did it feel to finally get that representation and for that offer to be for you?
Yeah. Natasha and I talk about this all the time, in that there's a responsibility with playing these characters and being the first, Black people that have a major storyline on the show, because there were a couple other Black actors that were on the show.
They just did
very little.
They just had some more smaller. I think one was a judge or a townsman. Like I don't even know, but yeah.
There was
And
a
one
guy
people-
whose car broke down during a Christmas special or whatever.
Yeah.
I heard someone was mentioning him, like they were like, "Oh, I hope he comes back," but I didn't know who this person was. I
Yeah.
didn't know.
And
Yeah.
there was a blacksmith who was a black guy. I was like, that's not what you do. But anyways, we spoke about it, and it's interesting because a lot of actors in town actually spoke with me about doing the part before I actually did the part. And like there was, we almost had, there was like a discussion that we had because everyone saw that this part came down and then they knew that I got it. And there were people who were because of the timing of everything, they were like, is this just being done because of Black Lives Matter, or is this something that they were trying to get put on that happened before? And,
I've seen those tweets too this year about Amanda, where they were like, she's a diversity hire. People, they just want to do this so that to appease liberal woke media people or whatever. It's like
we've seen this, I've seen the same thing, attached to stuff that, tweets attached to us. So yeah, people are going to react that way, but it didn't matter because we were like, we have the responsibility of portraying these characters, and we're going to bring, what we can bring to the table, and and try to, kick the door open for whoever's coming behind us. So
yeah, and it was sort of just that thing of wanting to tell the story correctly as Black actors, and then also wanting to integrate within what Hope Valley already was before we got there, and like combining the two. So that was definitely something we spoke about, and then stuff that we spoke about with the showrunner as well, John Tinker, and the director Peter DeLuise, and we'd speak about it because I think in certain cases it was sometimes just a very delicate subject, and that there was a very thin line between a lot of things, and so it was making sure that we did it correctly.
Yeah, we were like fact checkers. We're making sure that there was things where like, no, Black people wouldn't do this. Get rid of that.
Not
gonna happen. And so, like I said, this is what we knew that the responsibility was before we got on.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, everybody at the network, everybody involved has been nothing but supportive when it comes. If we come in and say, listen, this doesn't work for us, or this should be this, it's done. There's no roadblocks.
None.
Your character is a pastor. First of all, I have left the church due to my personal reasons, but I grew up in a Black church, so I was like, yay. I grew up in it. Yes, I grew up in it. I grew up in Bethel AME Church in Baltimore, Maryland. So, really, is that something that you have in common with Joseph? The relationship with Christ, that kind of thing. If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, it's how I was raised, and I know Natasha's the same, and it was kind of interesting because I say all the time I based Joseph on my uncle, two my uncles, and my father. So Joseph's ability with his hands and everything he can do in that respect is based off my dad, and Joseph's relationship with his wife, just the dynamic that I see between Minnie and Joseph is a lot of what I witnessed between my aunt and uncle. So I use that, and then the religious aspect of Joseph is definitely based off another uncle of mine who's the most religious person I've ever been around in my life. He is God first, no matter what. And even the way Joseph prays, I based off my uncle. And it's something that I know a lot of Black people back in that time they leaned on because they had to lean on looking at a brighter day, having the hope that things would get better. We talked about the fact that if you look at what's happening now in the world, everybody has hope that everything that's happening is going to come to an end soon. And I think that's how 2 years can go by. And, that's a lot of time.
Yeah.
But we continually every day hoping that it comes to an end. And I think that's how people looked at things back in the day as well. They just were hoping that things would get better and leaning on their faith to help them through.
Sometimes it's hard,
It's hard
to keep faith, but sometimes because you're like,
that's why it's called faith. That's why.
Natasha, Minnie, one of the things that I loved about Minnie in season 8 is her advocacy for her daughter, Angela, who is blind. I am disabled. I am in a wheelchair, and I know for a fact my mom is my biggest advocate too. I'm gonna cry now. Hold on. Talking about this.
That's okay.
What what kind of like inspiration, or did you talk to other parents who had children who were disabled also, to kind of like get that energy from them, I guess, or you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. So my mother cared for my father for 20 years. And so I grew up sort of watching that and just seeing how she dealt with every situation she had to be in with him. And I think it meant that I was able to really bring that to Minnie's character. Just that level of compassion, but also determination that she had to have to get things done. And she always had to be composed and dignified and everything all in one, and to get where she needed to be, and especially in a time period like that.
I love her advocacy, how like I understood Minnie's fear of like going to school and maybe like Angela feeling different or left out or whatever. So the protective nature of it. Man, that is hard, because as a person who's been there as a disabled child, I understand also, that I was teased as a child, I was bullied, I was, and I can only imagine seeing through Minnie's eyes what my mom went through, of the whole like push and pull, like how far can I let
her go?
Yeah, and feel this pain, but also, want to protect her, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, your mom did an amazing job, because look at you. She she did, because she had to let you go, but she protected you, more than anybody. Yeah. It's a balance. It's a balancing act.
It's a very hard balancing act, and you'll have these moments where you're not sure whether you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. That's all right.
While crying.
Get me started.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yes.
But I think it's that you're fighting through, just knowing that you never really know what the right thing to do is, but you just hope that what you're doing will have the right effect. And I think that's where Minnie was with Angela.
Mm-hmm.
And just protecting her, not feeling like Elizabeth was in the wrong, but feeling like she has to be the one that's always one step ahead of everybody else. Right. Or she has to try to be.
Because things went sideways before in a way that we couldn't have anticipated. We couldn't have known that. I mean,
I wanted to say that there was this one scene where Minnie, I think, told, I believe it was Carson about the doctor refusing to take care of Angela when she was a kid that caused her blindness. And I was thinking to myself, like, whoa, I don't know if other people understand this, but that is like medical segregation, medical racism. There's history of this, of a lot of Black people who have been denied access to medical care. There have been denied access, they had a study where people were saying that even medical students now are saying that they don't believe a Black person's pain more than a white person, you know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know how others, have caught this, but that is impactful that they brought that onto the show.
Yes. Yeah. We were happy that, if we're going to show up and be a part of Hope Valley, that there was some mention of
racism.
Yeah, there's got to be, you can't be us in 1918, 1920. There's no way you can be walking around and erase all that Black people went through. You can't do that.
I honestly was surprised that I know Hope Valley is supposed to be this idealistic world where everything is perfect and good and everyone loves each other and kumbaya. But I was thinking to myself, like, okay, this normally doesn't happen, especially at that time period. I don't know, it may be different in Canada, but in the United States, that doesn't happen. This idealistic where everybody accepts a whole Black family and everybody's going to school with them. Oh, and obviously everybody does.
I think on a scale, as far as like you look at the population base of Hope Valley and the ratio of Black people versus anybody else, I don't think people would. There's not a lot for people to be worried about. We're outnumbered. Like we're outnumbered. 4 to 50. 1,500. There's a lot of people there versus us. So, in that respect, that may have actually been something that could happen back then. I don't know, but if you want to make Hope Valley this anomaly, if you want to show that this place is a place where everybody treats you fairly and they don't they're colorblind, they don't see color or whatever, then you definitely need to kind of qualify these characters that are coming in and say what's happened to them. At least you have to do that.
Oh yeah, and I feel like even like this season with some of this stuff that we've done this season as well. I think they, the network, the writers, they were good at still infusing these situations into our story. It never kind of ever goes away, which is very true and honest to what would have been happening. Of course, it has to fit in with Hope Valley values and such like, but I think, we've always tried to make sure it's always, it's infused in some form of reality, and they have been really good with allowing that to be the case.
Yeah, because it's how the characters carry themselves, like to a certain degree. We come in, like the show, it started with Joseph coming into Hope Valley, and you don't know what to expect. If the world is like the world we came from, well, I have to be careful to a certain degree. I have to feel this out. And that he had such a strong reaction to Hope Valley and decided this is a place that I think my family can be something. I think Black folks and all ethnics had that radar, like, properly woven into their head because of bad situations that they've gone through. I think, we still have that. We still have that. We still have a sense of like, this is
our guards up. Our guards up.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, time to go. We understand that.
Red flags.
Yeah, red flag. This is not. No, we got to go. We have that because of what we've been through. So, yeah, they've been good about keeping that going.
Yeah.
I'd say, yeah.
Genuineness of it. One of my favorite scenes of season 8. Gonna cry again right now. was when the kids went to your house to show up and say, "Look, I am gonna go to school with Angela.
Yeah.
We're gonna go to class together. You know, you're not gonna take." I mean, I was like, so beautiful. I cried, and you know, it's so funny because everyone in the finale is talking about Chris, Lucas, and Nathan, who is who, and I'm sitting there going, like, can we skip all that and just talk about the kids? Oh, that was so beautiful. I mean, like, did you guys know the impact that was gonna make, like that whole storyline? I mean, because that Angela in school was pretty much half your storyline for season 8.
Yeah. You know what? We didn't know. I don't think we knew.
I don't think we knew that would be I mean, we knew it would have some impact. You know, it's a very powerful story.
Yeah.
But you know, really, we weren't really sure exactly how much the audience would respond to it, and when they would respond to it, and when they would have so much to say and comment on, and it was interesting after I spoke that scene with Carson, and I started to see messages and stories, and they were saying, you know, it's amazing that they dealt with racism, you know, that Hallmark dealt with racism, and you know, it's really, you don't know which storyline or which part of your story during the season is going to have that impact on an audience. So we really, I guess we're kind of in the dark for the most part, because we might think, you know, there's a particular scene or part of the story that's amazing to us, and it's not the way that the viewers see it.
We didn't. I didn't know that was coming. I didn't know. We kind of dealt with the whole school inspector, and you know, that was something that we were dealing with, but I didn't know that would be like the finale. So it was very cool when all the kids showed up and all the parents showed up, and that was cool. That was very cool. It was not a lot of acting on that day. We were all in the moment.
Yeah.
You
know? I wish that those things happened in real life.
Yeah, that'd be great if that's what happened.
But it feels weird to ask you, Viv, since it's about your kids, but I do want to know from your daughter's standpoint, has she shared with you what was the hardest part of playing a deaf child?
Oh yeah, well, as an actor, so Angela's blind, and so as an actor, you make eye contact with the person that you're talking to, and it's a natural human reaction that when you hear someone talk, you look in their direction. So she had to completely kind of disconnect that impulse to do that, and she has to always keep her eyes off someone, even when they're talking to her, and someone else says something over here, she has to see with her ears. Is basically when you know, she did a lot of research to play Angela, and that's something that we came across. You kind of look with your ears. That's how somebody's blind.
I have a feeling season 9 she's gonna be. But I mean, I've seen the picture of her with the cane, and I'm also assuming that she's going to start learning braille more, because we saw it in season 8. Has your daughter done any of those braille classes herself, or you know?
She definitely got instruction on how to do it properly, so that when you see her hands going across it, she's doing it right. Lots of so Peter DeLuise is pretty amazing he loves details. Details. So he'll send us any video that he comes across. So before he even writes something, he's double checking it, triple checking it with a video and making sure that it's done right. So a lot of what you see Vienna doing, Peter DeLuise is behind that. He'll send countless videos. Okay, this is how you walk. This is how you check and see that something's safe. This is how you move across a wall. This is how you go downstairs. This is how everything, the whole nine. But I mean, this is what Vienna wants to make sure she's doing. She doesn't want to offend anybody, who are relatives of anybody who's blind, who sees a show. You want
or
to
any blind person, period.
Well, it's just, that's probably safe there, but like, you definitely want to make sure that you're showing up and doing everything you can to make it as authentic as possible. But it was one of the reasons why she was actually she actually didn't want to play Angela at first, because I brought Vienna to the attention of the casting director and the powers that be, because I got the part, and then I noticed that he had a daughter and a son. Now Vienna had already been acting, doing voice.
She was in Time for Us or with you,
right?
Time
for Us to come. But she hadn't been on camera yet.
Oh,
before she did When Calls, that was the first thing she's ever done.
But
she was doing voice work for cartoons.
Yeah.
So she was comfortable breaking down scripts. She was comfortable, being in that setting, but she had never done any on-camera work. So I got the part as Joseph, and then I said, I brought this to Vienna, and I said, hey, look, you've been asking me to be, she wanted to get into film. So I was like, look, this is perfect for you. You play my daughter. It's a great show. And the character's blind. And she's like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I was like, you've been asking me for like a year and a half to get into acting. And she's like, Dad, think about it. The character's blind. The show is a huge hit. So that means lots of people, are going to be scrutinizing what you're doing. And she's like, and I'm going to be there with you. She's like, how would you feel about going to work with Granddad? And I was like, oh, you got a point there. I was like, you got a point there. I was like, okay. But Peter DeLuise, he heard that she was having second thoughts about even auditioning. So he sent a little video over of himself saying into the camera, Vienna, I will not let you fail. And he said, play that for your daughter. So I played it for her, and she said, okay, I'll do the audition. And then she auditioned and she got the part. But she was hesitant. Because she's got a tough task on set. The rest of us are looking around and walking around, but she's got to do it. She's got to do it and do it authentically. And it's to the point where there's some kids that are doing background they thought she was blind. Like a lot of viewers are asking, is she blind for real? So she's doing a good job.
I love your family. I follow your kids, and you have a pretty big family too.
Oh, yes. Well, my wife's Filipino, so yeah.
Yes. Yeah, but my grandmom is like one of 9, and my great grandmom is one of 9.
Yeah, my mom is one of 13, so yeah, it's
yeah. Natasha, how big is your family? Do you have siblings?
I do not have a big family. Oh my goodness. My mom was an only child. My dad had 2 brothers. Like, we're not like, there's no double figures here.
That's why
one sibling.
That's why we adopted her. We adopted Natasha.
Oh my goodness, that is so sweet. But well, I was gonna say, like, Viv and his kids are there, and you're like the add-on, if you don't mind me asking, calling you that. How was it like being added onto their family unit? Was this the first time that you met the Lee Cox? What was it like meeting them the first time? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was the first time I'd met them. I had never even heard of Viv before I met him. Just like, what? And I was kind of surprised because I'd never seen you ever in an audition room.
Never ran into each other.
No, it's just so strange.
8 years you've been here, I never. It's because I was too busy on set. I'm sorry.
I was too busy trying to get a job while you were on
set.
But then, I called him when I booked the job and we realized that we were going to be we wanted to talk because I was in the UK, I'd come back. So I was in quarantine at the time. And so we wanted to have a chat beforehand. And yeah, I mean, like from that chat, we just knew there was just so much that we saw eye to eye on, and we just had, we agreed upon so much, and we just, it was great because then we didn't just agree on stuff to do with the show, we just agreed on stuff in general.
In life.
Yeah.
I could joke with her and she laughs at my jokes. So.
I have to say, you look really young. When I first saw you as Minnie, I was like, I don't think she's old enough to have a teenager, but I don't know.
Well, black don't crack, so
That is true. That is 100% true. And also,
I'm 65 years old. You don't even know that.
Asian people also have a hard time aging. My mom, I swear to this day, still gets messages that she looks like my sister, and she's 60.
Yep. I know. My wife is I've known my wife since I was 13 years old, and I tell her every day, I'm just like, you stopped aging. Like you literally, you put the brakes on that. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh. Something in our DNA for real.
Yeah.
Your kids are gonna really look young since she got double your DNA.
Yes, you got it all.
But can you tell us anything about season 9? What to expect for both of your characters, your families?
No spoilers. Let's see.
Well, I think generally overall, season 9 is for us one where we solidify our position in town.
Good answer.
100%. We we kind of pick up where we left off, and we really are in our comfort zone, I think, this season, and we're kind of getting things done as a family. We're getting things done as individuals, and I think it comes together really nicely.
That's a very good answer, Natasha. Very good. That's a very safe and Hallmark very approved answer. We are blending into the community a little bit more. There's definitely relationships with other folks in the community that Joseph and Minnie are starting to mesh with, and the kids as well, which is really cool to see. And then you'll see what else we get into. Trying to keep it safe.
Is there gonna be any further talk about race in season 9 like y'all did in season 8?
Yes. It's a very big storyline.
Ongoing. It's an ongoing concept.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's be honest. You're Black. It's an ongoing thing.
I'm very big. Yes.
We wish we could escape the race thing, but sadly, it's part of our lives, right?
Yeah. You know what though? I look at it and go, it makes us better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we're where we are, and we had to, we're forged kind of in fire. We walk through things to get where we are. Yeah, I think it makes you stronger. You know who you are. You really do, because you have to.
Yep.
Right. It's adversity. That's what makes you. That's what makes you better. That's what makes you stronger. You don't get anywhere in this life if you just win all the time. You don't learn anything from that. So
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm trying to figure out how to say thank you in Tagalog. I'm saying part of me saying salamat, but I'm like, that's I love you, I think.
That's I love you, yeah. I mean, you can say that. That's fine.
No, I mean it's I've lost the language sadly since moving here. So like I was part of the racism that I had to endure was my parents made us speak English 100% of the time, which kind of made us lose the language, lose the you know what I mean, just to blend in with everybody else, kind of thing.
They were keeping you safe. That's what they were thinking about, you know.
Yeah. So my brothers and I have lost it too. So
yeah, my wife as well. Actually, she understands it, but she'd be like, you should be like, well, how do you say? Like, she wouldn't know necessarily off the top of her head how to say something. So
yeah. Some things that we have to do to survive, right?
Exactly.